This is Talk Local to Me from the Central Virginia Business Coalition. Local stories, local business, local impact.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Talk Local to Me. I'm Heather Alto with the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
And I'm Mike Norfield with Visiting Angels of Lynchburg, America's Choice in Home Care.
And we've been away for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So we're back. We've had vacations and work trips and things, lifing and all the things. So
it's just busy.
Yeah. June's always kind of a busy month. I feel like the summer gets that way because, kids are out of school, vacations are happening.
And you've got all the extra work before vacation and all the extra work after vacation that kind of cancels out the vacation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you're just tired from your vacation. You need a vacation from your vacation. So that's what I'm feeling. So anyway, well, we are excited today because we don't have any guests. Not that we're excited not to have any guests, but what we decided to do today is dive a little deeper into each other. Mike and his business and myself and the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Today, we are the guests.
Yeah, we are each other's guests. And we haven't done this in a while. I feel like we've done it before, but it's been a little bit. And, for everyone who tunes in weekly and whether you're a new listener, I think it's a good thing for you guys to get to know a little bit more about who we are, what we do, why we do it. And, a little bit more about us as individuals because, you hear us on here, we're joking, we're laughing, we're having a good time. We're diving into the deep thoughts with our members and other businesses, but we got a lot going on too. And we want people to know who we are.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're going to get started with Mike Norfield with Visiting Angels. Welcome to Talk Local to Me.
Hi, I'm Mike with Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show today. Last time you came, you stayed forever, so I'm assuming you're staying for a little longer. No, I'm just kidding. So let's just start talking. People know, of course, you as the co-host of Talk Local to Me, but tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Well, I was born at a very young age.
Yeah.
We don't want to go back that far, do we? So.
Well, you're older than me, so.
You didn't have to go there. Didn't have to go there.
Starting early, folks. Starting early.
Didn't have to go there. So, So I'm the director and co-owner of Visiting Angels of Lynchburg, and we provide care mostly for seniors in their home or in a facility, or sometimes even the hospital. So. Sometimes we have clients that may have a fall or something like that. And typically, we're not there, just to put that out there. But may end up in the hospital or have a surgery or something like that. And sometimes the family just wants somebody there so that they've got someone in the room with them without the family having to stay the whole time. So, we help with, they call them ADLs or activities of daily living. So bathing, dressing, meal preparation, changing linens, doing laundry, meal preparation, doing the dishes after, all those good things, those things that you need assistance with at some level or another to get through. And a lot of people think that we come in and they're not allowed to do those things anymore. No, we want them to be as independent as possible. So, if we've got somebody in there, a really good cook, our caregivers can kind of help with that process and just kind of grab things for them.
Yeah.
And I always joke that we have UNO specialists, right? Because sometimes we're just there for companionship and making sure that they're not alone and have a little bit of socialization as well. There's actually a program with Visiting Angels dealing with seniors and depression and helping to make sure that they get joy out of life, not just get through life, right? So it's a great program. So but we serve, Lynchburg and the surrounding areas and we've now been doing this for 10 years. Hard to believe.
Wow. Well, I know that we've talked a little bit in the past about how you've kind of got into the home care industry. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on it?
I'm not from healthcare. Well, I guess I can't say that anymore because now I've been doing it a decade, because I'm older than you.
But that's not your roots. That's not where you started.
It's not where I started. So I worked in electronics and program machines and fun things like that, maintained them, ran them, all that stuff for electronic manufacturing. So made circuit boards from everything from started Ericsson with cell phones and then ended up going to a smaller company and running machines that put parts through circuit boards and all that fun stuff. And my dad and I had always wanted to start a business together. We had talked about it quite a few times and almost opened a florist, believe it or not, because I was a florist before this.
I remember
and he came to me one day and he goes, well, I don't know anything about flowers, but I know something about this, and presented Visiting Angels to me, and kind of like, I don't know, I've never done healthcare. Like, I don't think this is really for me.
Yeah. Where did he find, like, what made him just
Believe it or
grab
not,
that up? Yeah.
it was a Facebook ad.
I was wondering. Okay. I've always
Right.
wondered, like, what just made him pick Visiting Angels?
So for those SEO nerds out there, like, you know, the
Good job.
social media, like it worked. He saw an ad and
Okay.
it kept popping up for him, and because he, you know, he was Googling, looking at different businesses, things like that. So it was populating into his Facebook ads for that, and so he started looking into it. And in March of 2016, he and my mom went up to Pennsylvania, where Visiting Angels is based, and looked into it. Came back and they said, I think we're going to do this. And I was like, okay. They were like, we want you to come run the office. And I was like, don't know about that. Long story short, I said I'd give them, 6 months and we'd see how it go. Went for the training, came back and told my wife, like, this is what I was made to do.
Yeah.
Everything I've done up until now has led me to, like, this is the perfect position for me. And 10 years later, here I am. Right. And we've won, 50 some awards, something like that. So we're getting ready to take all our awards down off the wall and repaint and put them back up on a different wall, because the original wall is not big enough anymore. So it's good problem to have.
Good problem. Yeah. So what has, kind of inspired you to become involved in the Lynchburg community? Some of those awards, of course, relate to that. But you're active on boards and other things.
I am. And I think there's a difference between living in a community and being part of the community.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to, you can live in a community and go to things and things like that. But being part of what makes Lynchburg so great, and, Bedford and all of that is kind of giving back with time. And, like I work with Love Heals, and, the events that they do, and seeing the work that goes behind that. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, like we, there's this event that we can go to, and don't realize how many people it takes to pull that event off. Right. Same thing for business. Like, you can own a business in the community and not really be involved in the community. Right. Just service the community. And while that's being part of the community, like, it's having meaningful work that we do is probably the greatest thing for me. And it just makes me, like, I love Lynchburg. Like, we came here in 1984. I was like first grade, and this is where I grew up. Right. So people always complain there's nothing to do in Lynchburg. Let's make something.
Yeah.
Right. Let's make something to do.
So why, taking it back to, well, now I'm going to ask you this one. Who has been like whatever has been your biggest influence in your professional journey? You can say Heather, it's fine.
So
I'm just kidding.
So you've had an impact for sure. I don't know if it's positive or negative. Just
it's there.
But honestly, like, my parents.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if I was going to name, I'm going to say my parents first, because, like, when we started this, like, I was, imposter syndrome is very real. Right. I'm still fighting with it today, 10 years later. I'm an expert in my field. I got certifications. I got experience. I've got a whole team that, looks to me for guidance, and I look to them for guidance sometimes. And I'm fortunate that I have a great team. But my parents, the one thing I can say about my parents that has been 1,000% consistent is they've always been in my corner. Right. And just knowing that somebody is supporting you and will help get through whatever issues we face. And we faced a lot of issues as a company over the last 10 years, right? It is not easy to start a business. It is not easy to do home care or healthcare,
right?
Especially through COVID and things like that. And so just having their support and their confidence in me to do what I do has been a great influence. And then unfortunately, I got my dad's work ethic, right? Which is you work all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not always a bad thing, as long as you can focus your energy where it needs to be. But, it's been, that, and, Robert Roberts, that owned the contract manufacturer that I work for, he's passed away now, but, like, his impact on empowering employees. And he said something one time in a big staff meeting about, our job is to make sure that when you leave EDM, that you are a better person and employee than when you came here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come and you're only there 2 years, that's fine. Like, it's part of the journey. And if they've helped you to grow and things like that, then it'll make the company better. And I was there almost 10 years. So Visiting Angels is now officially the longest job I've ever had.
Yeah.
After breaking the 10-year mark at the beginning of the month, actually, June 6th.
So bringing it back to Visiting Angels, tell me, why is it so important to have an organization like Visiting Angels where people can age in place and have that comfort? And
I think it's really important because I know I struggle enough to get through my life, and I'm able-bodied and can make my own decisions and things like that. When decline is not something that necessarily happens quickly and is noticed, right? You start to notice it right by your countertops, like by your kitchen counters and things. It starts to get a little dirtier there, and the bathroom's not quite as clean, and the dust bunnies are kind of running a little bit more than normal, and it's as we age,
mm-hmm.
as we both have since we've even started this podcast, right? So you have a slow decline, and like things hurt a little bit more, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that because my knee hurts today, or
mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling great today. I don't have the energy to do that. And for seniors, like, it's a much more gradual decline. And whereas we may have like a day or two where we're not feeling great and hurting, like sometimes it's like a chronic thing. Like it's going to be, they're going to deal with that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so slowly they start to withdraw and not be in the community as much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not show up to things. We'll talk about this in a minute, but I do karaoke, and there's an older couple that comes, and if they don't come for a couple of weeks, I'm like, are you guys doing okay? Like, is there anything you need help with? Things like that, because unless you're a family that is very involved in each other's houses all the time, you really don't see a decline.
Yeah.
Right. You just see like, oh, well, mom didn't want to come out today. Right. And it's a little harder to recognize. So with Visiting Angels, it kind of gives them that independence, and, it gives them a reason to get up. They've got socialization, they're more in a routine, and it just makes for a healthier, individual all the way around.
What makes you guys different than other home care providers?
Mike. No.
There we are.
I really do think it's our team is very unique in the fact that we all genuinely want what's best for our clients,
mm-hmm.
even if it's not convenient, right? One of the things that sets Visiting Angels apart is a lot of home care companies it's a joint office between Roanoke and Lynchburg, right? We're, as far as I know, the only one that is just in Lynchburg,
mm-hmm.
right? You've got a couple other companies that have, Roanoke and Lynchburg. You've got a couple that are like Lynchburg, South Boston, and, different things like that. But we focus just primarily on Lynchburg. We have one office. We're locally owned. I'm at the office just about every day, except for when I'm here, things like that. So, and if you call our office, there's a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance you're going to get me answering the phone. And you don't really get that with a lot of home care companies.
Yeah. What's one of the biggest misconceptions about home care? And I say this for like maybe someone who's elderly that's even considering it for themselves, or someone like from like in my age that may be considering it for a parent.
Right. So I think the misconception is that it is very expensive for what it is,
mm-hmm.
right? Our rates run about $35 an hour. That's not cheap, right? But a little bit of care can go a long way. And a lot of people I think the biggest misconception is, I don't need that right now. Mm-hmm. That's for down the road when I'm really old, right? And we've got clients that range in age from in the 50s to, we've got one that's over 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one that is over 100 didn't get care until about maybe 2-3 years ago, right? Okay. So I think their pride gets in the way.
Oh yeah. I can see that.
The biggest obstacle that I have to overcome is letting them know that there is nothing wrong with getting help. And I think that goes all the way down to age 3, right? You get say your granddaughter, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She probably kind of wants to do things herself if she wants to do something. She doesn't want the help.
Definitely in that stage.
Right? It doesn't matter if she has the ability or not.
Yeah.
And that translates all the way up from 3 to 103, right? Yeah. So, I don't want people in my home because they're going to, take everything I've got, things like that. We work very hard to make sure that we vet all of our caregivers very carefully. And if somebody isn't working out on the team, we don't keep them, right? And as far as like, if you're thinking about like, oh, I would love to go and do that, like maybe that makes me not want to do it. But here's the thing: we've concentrated in the last 2 years on holding people accountable to our policies and things like that, and it's hard as a business owner. It's hard, especially when I'm very much a feelings person. I want to make people happy, all that. We actually had a staff meeting yesterday about this, so being able to have that accountability and hold people to what they say they're going to do is a challenge. So I got a little off topic there, but I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that just people are like, I don't need that. That's not for me.
Right. Well, I'm going to kind of roll into some of the stuff you were talking about more into like the business sector of like what you do. And what has been one of the biggest lessons that you've learned as a business owner?
Don't ever say the Q word.
Okay.
Which is quiet.
Right.
So everything can be going along just fine. The biggest thing I've learned is that like with every business, all right, so if we were retail and we were selling shoes, this is always my favorite thing. Like we can kind of predict like, oh, back to school's coming. Let's get extra stock in, things like that. Yesterday, if you had called our office and said, hey, we want to get care, how long is it going to take? It probably would have been like 3 to 4 weeks, honestly. Yeah. Today, we can start you tomorrow, right? It just depends. We've got, people that pass away, people that move into a facility, things like that. And home care is not always the answer, just by the way, right? Because a lot of people are like, I don't want to go to a facility. I want to stay home. Sometimes they're not ready for like an assisted living or even an independent living, really. And that extra cost that comes with that, they're fine at home. But a lot of times we run into a situation where it's like, really, I think what they need is kind of that round the clock 24/7, somebody being close by and things like that. So, so the biggest thing is just the unpredictability of it. Right. And we're managing people. So we're managing about 30 to 40 caregivers. So, and clients. So, we might have a client that has care every day, and then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, well, I want to go and do this, or, and not have anybody that day, or, we've got caregivers and they're people just like we are. Right. It's always like the thing when you're growing up and you see a teacher in the grocery store and you're like, oh, they buy groceries too. Like, I thought they were just a teacher. 'Cause in your small world at home as a kid, like that's the only place you saw them. You thought they were always there. Right. So, yeah.
So what does effective leadership mean to you? And I know, you actually did kind of somewhat of a topic in our lead on seminar 2 years ago about like,
yeah. And my answer then is different than it is now.
Yeah. Okay.
So making sure that people feel supported, and not just in, do they have the things they need? Do they have the authority to do their job as they need to without having to second guess everything? And do they feel like everyone is on the same side?
Yeah. Well, right? How do you like balance that compassion though with building a team and like managing a team?
It's hard.
Okay. Because I know you manage way more people than I do, right? Like, so, and I'm sure we have people that are listening that manage way more than we do.
Right.
And then sometimes you get in your feels when you're managing.
It happens a lot.
It's hard.
Right? Yeah. And it's hard, especially because when you're in close proximity with somebody for 40 hours a week, right? You're developing that bond and that friendship. And it's like, well, why would you say that when we're friends? But it goes beyond that, right? It's, one of my previous employees that worked in the office always said that I was too kind. Right. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. You can't be too kind. Right. But you can. Yeah. And learning that, agreeing to everything and kind of letting people do what they want and trying to just please them is not kindness.
Yeah.
Right. It's allowing them to develop bad habits. It's allowing them to take advantage of a situation. It's allowing them to, not be held accountable and grow. And I think that's the biggest challenge. Is just balancing the human side with the HR side.
Right.
Right. Even though HR stands for human resources, which is ironic, but just trying to manage those two sides of, I want to help you and do whatever I can with, this is a business and we need to stick to what we can do.
So you are a small business owner, and we're midway through 2026.
Right.
What are some of the challenges that you're seeing businesses facing today that maybe some people who are listening don't realize, or maybe they do, but I mean, like, what are those challenges that you're kind of seeing?
Hiring.
Okay.
Getting qualified people who, and I don't want to sound like an old person saying like these young people don't want to work today, but getting somebody that comes to us and wants to work. And the really strange thing that happens now is, so we had this last week, we had an interview with somebody and they were like, oh, I'm available all the time. Get them through the interview process. 2 days later, they're in orientation. And all of a sudden they can only work these certain days and these certain hours and things like that. And it's like, well, so did something change, or did you just say that you were open trying to get through?
Smoke.
Right. And you know, the thing that I've always said, like if somebody's coming to us for a job, are they leaving a job because like it's just kind of a season and that's the end of that for them? Or are they coming because they can't find a job anywhere else? Like, you know, we're not actively recruiting people from other jobs, right? So everybody that's coming to us doesn't have a job. So we're kind of trying to realize what that reason is.
I think it's interesting that you say hiring, because I consistently see on social media people complaining about, oh, I've put in like 50 applications and I'm not getting any calls back, or I'm not getting anything in. And I really wonder to the validity of some of these statements, or what's going on behind the scenes with that stuff.
A lot of it comes down to what people are willing to do for the pay that's offered.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody has what they're worth in their head. Now, does that worth translate to what actual rates are and things like that? So, and as minimum wage goes up, like we are not a minimum wage job. Like we try to stay above minimum wage. But as a small business owner at the same time, it's hard. So, I mean, our prices have gone up $14 since we opened. So $14 over 10 years, that's quite the jump, right? Just to keep up with the increased pay that has gone with minimum wage going up.
So what advice would you give to someone who is considering to starting a business right now?
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding.
All right. And there we go. That's the end of it.
No. So I think it's be willing to, I have certain freedoms where my schedule is very flexible. I wasn't feeling as great this morning. I got into work at 10 o'clock. All right. On the flip side of that, I've been there till 7:30 Monday and Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So Ryan Robinson and I always joke, like, own a business, set your own hours, and those hours are going to be 70 hours a week.
I was in the office till 7 last night.
Right. So I think you have to look at, there is nothing wrong with not owning a business and not having that, I'm going to say this about myself, crazy mindset of like, I want to build something big and I want to do great things. You have to balance that with how much of my entire life am I willing to sacrifice for that? Is it worth it? Yes, but you have to be willing to put the time and the work in to where you can get to where you're not necessarily having to go to the office every day, right? Because Visiting Angels and National Network, I just came back from national conference. I was sitting next to somebody at dinner one night and they were like, yeah, I only work like 20 hours a week and I'm bored. Right now they're about 8 times bigger than we are. Right. So he's worked hard to build it up to that, to where he has a full team underneath him where he doesn't have to work but 20 hours a week. Right. And he's getting a fantastic return on the time that he puts in and the time that he's put in the past. But you have to be willing to do the hard work and sacrifice now to enjoy the true benefits of business ownership later. Because I do a lot of the on-call things like that. Like my schedule is pretty much 24/7. Right. The phone could ring any minute. So I'm going on vacation next week. I'm taking the on-call phone and I'm on call. Right. So fortunately, our staff is really good about not calling out for silly things or calling for silly things after hours. And I won't have to manage during the day, but just at night. But like, that's one of the things that like I'm willing to do that because it falls on a holiday and a lot of my staff is off. Right. Yeah. So, you've just got to, there is sacrifice that comes with the benefits of business ownership.
Okay. So you were recently recognized as Citizen of the Year by the CVABC.
I was.
What did that honor mean to you as a business owner?
It was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
So that, because it's so much more than like, hey, you're good at business. your company is doing well and you're getting awards for that. Like I said, we've got 50 some awards on our wall, right? I have one on my desk.
Well, yeah, because Citizen of the Year isn't necessarily about the business. It's more about you as the person,
right? And being involved in the community.
Yeah.
And, I have a weird marketing approach of like, I think one of the best way to make sure that we're seen and our name gets out there is I go to ribbon cuttings and, part of the CVABC, go to things. I'm on vacation Friday. I'm still going to coffee talk, right? Because it's important. As I should. As it's important, it's being Citizen of the Year. It's not just about what you do for the community, but how you're a part of the community and knowing and supporting. And supporting doesn't necessarily mean spending money at their business, right? It can, and you should, but sometimes we can't always support our friends by just spending money at their store, right? Or getting our, getting a Generac generator from Matt or things like that.
Right.
So, supporting them sometimes is listening. Sometimes it's showing up for their ribbon cutting, right? Because one of our competitors had a ribbon cutting and I went to their ribbon cutting to show support. Yeah. So, and developed kind of a friendship and being able to work with them and refer to them a little better. So just, being out there and supporting every aspect of our community. And it just kind of, when I got that award, like, it was kind of no, I'm not going to win this. Like, wait, they called my name, right? And it's just very validating to hear that other people see the work that I do that is beyond Visiting Angels.
Very cool. So I'm going to flip it over here to Talk Local to Me. What have you enjoyed most about hosting Talk Local to Me?
So I feel like I have a secret hack, right? Because we talked about building relationships and things like that. So I can't tell you how many people we've had on the podcast. We had Shineforth on just a little while ago with Melissa. And a couple of days later, she reached out to me and she goes, hey, I've got a family member we're trying to figure out something for. What does Visiting Angels like really do? Right? She would have never thought about me or our company if she hadn't been on our show to promote Shineforth and the great work that they do. Right. So the amount of friends I feel like I've gotten off this podcast, right, has been fantastic. And then being able to really like, so my wife last night was talking back to the TV and I'm like, they can't hear you, right? This is like a TV show, but like I can talk back and they can hear me. So being able to talk to people and get to know them and really know what's out there, it has really given me a vast array of people that I can support and refer to. And I can't tell you how much I've spent on this podcast because somebody comes on and they're doing something for a good cause. And I'm like, hey, I'll throw in,
right,
like Shipley's gift card or whatever. Like, yeah, this podcast is expensive for me, but it's great to be able to kind of learn like what's going on in our community and about the members.
Is there a guest or an interview that has like particularly standing out to you?
See, I put these questions up. Well, ChatGPT did this, not one. And I really struggled with
this. I'm over here pretending like these are just coming from me, man. You just blew it out.
I think the biggest impact that any guest has had on me is the first time that Love Heals came on. And the reason that they stand out is because there were 3 of them that came and that they were like, all 3 of them came and they were all together and everything. And kind of back in those days, like everywhere there was an event or something, you always saw those 3 at the same place. And so just the fact that they were all so bought into this nonprofit that was not paying their bills, right? They're doing this because they want to help people. We're in talks now trying to do a karaoke show to benefit one of their things, possibly as soon as next week. So,
very cool.
Or 2 weeks. So I think that's been my favorite one just because I really I ended up being the president of the board for Love Heals, I think the following year. And then was a board member and recently just had to step down just because I've got too many things going on. Like I had to start, we talk about that sacrifice and what is stressing me out and taking me too far beyond my capabilities. Not that the Love Heals stressed me out, just the obligation of, someone else needing my time. I needed to refocus a little bit. So had to step back from that, but still support them. And I think that, and then Blake Bryant coming on, learning more about what they do and being able to ask questions. I could go on and on. I've probably got a list of 20 people who are my favorite guest, right? So
So you're known for being a business owner, community leader, citizen of the year, all the good things. What do you enjoy doing outside of work? Although you've kind of already alluded to
I have.
it,
So my wife and I used to do karaoke a lot. At one point, we did it like 6 days a week, and then we were like, "This is too much. We're never home. Why are we making a house payment when we're never there? We should just live at the office." So we had one of my really good friends, Thomas, that owns 801 on Vermont. They just won Best Seafood Restaurant, by the way. I also had crab legs there for the first time on Sunday.
My daughter loved them.
That's the best crab legs I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
So I don't eat a lot of crab legs, but they were fantastic. Anyway, they were doing karaoke there, and that's one of the places that we went. And that's how I actually got reunited with Thomas, because I've known him since I was like 18, 19. And so the karaoke DJ, they weren't going to be able to continue with that. And he was like, "We're just going to do it in-house." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I used to, when I was 19, I ran a sound company for metal bands because I was in a metal band." Yes, I was in a metal band. I know I look like it, right? So and growing up in church and things like that, and helping set up sound systems and different things like pretty much all my life, I was like, well, like I know how I would like a karaoke show to be as a person who does karaoke, and so like I'll help you with it, and that turned into me doing it, and I've been doing that for like 6 months, 8 months, something like that. Like it feels like forever, like not in a bad way, but it feels like it's always been there. So every Saturday I'm at 801 setting up for karaoke, except this week because I'm on vacation.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Probably Lose Control by Teddy Swims.
Okay.
And then Sheena's favorite that I do is like When a Man Loves a Woman. If I'm trying to show off, like if somebody comes to karaoke, because it's all about the crowd, right? If you ever go to karaoke, and it's like, this is boring. It's just kind of people getting up to sing a song and nobody's really paying attention. The problem is you, right? If you cheer for people, we have a rule at our karaoke. We're like, give it up for, Heather Alto singing, or Heather. I don't know everybody's last name, but give it up for Heather singing. If everybody doesn't cheer, it's like, no, we can do better than that. Like everybody, it doesn't matter if you get up there and you're the best singer in the world. It doesn't matter if you don't sing a single note on tune. It's all about having fun and the experience and being able to kind of express yourself through song. So, but if I want to show off, Sheena's always like, "Do When a Man Loves a Woman" by Michael Bolton. So, because I did that on a dare at karaoke one time and just happened to hit the note. Like I didn't think I could sing that high. But yeah, so Lose Control, that, and every once in a while, Pony by Genuine.
Okay.
So.
What are you most excited about for the future of Visiting Angels?
Oh my gosh. This is a great question considering I just came back from conference. So we are focusing more now on how we can help those. Everybody needs care, but how to help those that need it the most. So we have been part of the Community Care Network with the Department of Veterans Affairs. When we first started with them, their reimbursement rate to us was lower, like $3-4 lower than our regular rate. But both of my grandfathers were in the military. And so being able to give back to the veterans who, now have this care that is actually protected by law since last year. They voted in the Dole Act, and so now it's protected. So if there's a budget cut and they run out of money, it doesn't matter. They still have to pay for this care for these veterans. And some of the homes that we go into, just the relief of the family getting that help is just such a great thing, right? So we're going to be more veteran focused. We've always been a great employer. Especially for caregivers. We are focusing on, we now do something for them every 90 days. So how many jobs have you worked where you worked there for maybe, quite a while and nobody ever gave you any recognition of like, hey, you're doing a good job. They might be like, hey, you did a good job on that today, but like no actual recognition. Yeah. So we did a thing last month and we reached out to several local restaurants. So we reached out to Chick-fil-A, we reached out to Klein's, we reached out to Joe Bean's, we reached out to, I said Chick-fil-A, a couple others that were willing to give us like free. Joe Bean's gave us a free coffee. Klein's gave us a free scoop. Chick-fil-A gave us a free sandwich or nuggets for all of our employees. And we were able to give that to them and also able to give them a certificate of appreciation and some chapstick and, little emergency kit things for the summer because everybody forgets about chapstick, right? I hate chapstick myself, but I used it like crazy in Arizona last week because it was dry. What else did we give them? Gum, some candy, things like that. Like just some things to show appreciation. And some of them were just like, you could see the joy that it brought them because a lot of employers forget to say thank you, right? If it wasn't for our caregivers, we don't have a product we sell. We're a service-based industry, right? So without our caregivers, we don't have a product.
Right.
Right. So showing appreciation is just like one of the biggest things.
So before we go to commercial, if people remember one thing about Mike Norfield, what would you want it to be?
That I am America's Choice in Home Care and Lynchburg's Choice in Home Care. To be honest, really so let's picture my obituary. All right. So my obituary, I hope Visiting Angels is a very small part of it.
Okay.
Right? Because it really your job really defines who you are.
Yeah.
Like, look at the different people we know, right?
Right.
Ryan's the pool guy. Matt's the electrical guy.
Yep.
Right? But they are so much more than just the pool guy and the electrical guy, right? So I'm a father, a grandfather, a karaoke host. Sometimes at work, I'm a therapist, right? Like, you run into all these things that you are in your life and advocating for what's important. And I'll be honest with you, of some of the things I advocate for, my business is the least important. Now it's how I make my living, and it's how we take care of our employees, and it is important, but it is not the entire thing that defines who I am.
Awesome. Great answer.
Thanks.
We are going to cut to a quick commercial. We'll be right back. Today's podcast is brought to you by Omega Disaster Restoration, located in Campbell County, Virginia. Omega specializes in water, fire, and smoke damage restoration, as well as mold remediation. Their region includes Central and Southwest Virginia, which spans a vast service area from Blacksburg to Charlottesville and Stanton to Danville.
In addition to disaster restoration and full service reconstruction and remodeling, Omega is proud to offer custom all-wood cabinets through their Hanover Woodworking Studio, custom countertops via their Top Solution Studio, and dumpster services through Old Dominion Dumpsters, all part of the Omega family of brands. A beautiful showroom is currently under construction at their Exchange Drive location and will be soon open to the public, showcasing their diverse offerings.
Customers can call 434-616-4659 for emergency assistance with water, fire, smoke damage, or mold remediation needs. Omega provides 24/7 emergency response, ensuring that help is always available. Locally owned and not a franchise, Omega is your first and last call in any emergency, restoring your home or business from beginning to end. For more information about Omega Disaster Restoration and their comprehensive services, please visit omegadisasterrestoration.com/VA/Lynchburg.
Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care, is now serving Lynchburg and the surrounding counties from their new location at 2201 Linghorn Road, providing our community with personal care services, including assistance with bathing, dressing, meal preparation, grocery shopping, light housekeeping, and much more. Our trained staff have to pass all of our requirements for a high standard of care, ensuring that you have a compassionate, kind, and qualified caregiver. Our office team works with you as a partner in providing care for you or your family member to make the task of starting and continuing care an easier process. At Visiting Angels, we understand that every individual is different. That's why our team of dedicated caregivers is committed to providing tailored assistance to make you happier and healthier at home. Call 434-439-4698 to learn more about our services and schedule a free in-home, no-obligation consultation. Trust Visiting Angels in Lynchburg to bring peace of mind to you and your loved ones.
Visiting Angels, America's Choice in Home Care.
And you're welcome for having that in your head for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
To quote Courtney from Love Heals, America's choice in healthcare. And I'm like, it's home care, but okay. So you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
So for the second half of our show today, we have another great guest.
Yes.
Much better than she is a host. No, I'm kidding. And that is Heather from the CVABC.
Yeah.
AKA the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Yes. Woo.
So a lot of people that listen to this kind of know that you do talk local, like you're the host on here.
Right.
But this is just a small part of what you do.
Very small.
Tell us like more of what you do. Like I'm not going to ask what is the CVABC. I'm going to ask you like, what do you do to make the CVABC great?
I think it's hard because there's a lot of things, right? But to kind of pull it all together, I'm a champion for small business.
Okay.
And I think that is the biggest piece behind the Central Virginia Business Coalition is having an organization or people that are in your corner, because starting a small business is hard.
Very hard.
Being in a small business, no matter how long it's not even about just opening one either. It's going through all the different seasons of being in a small business that can be hard.
It's going from $1 million in your bank account to 32 cents.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think, I come on here and I host this podcast every week, and we bring on business owners every week to talk about who they are and what they do. And that's a very small part of what the CVABC does, right? That's one of our membership benefits. It's one of the things that I do love that we're able to do.
And it's been going for 5 years.
Yeah.
But it still feels like it's a fairly new thing.
It does.
Right. And a lot of people struggle with the concept and what it is. So let's talk about the Talk Local part of your job for a second.
Yeah.
So what makes this podcast important?
I think what makes this podcast so important is it gives people a voice, right? So I think a lot of people have a hard time telling people who they are and what they do, right? And really
what's my favorite
having
saying?
A platform to do that, right?
Right.
So I think that's why Talk Local to me is so important. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast 5 years ago, because I wanted to have a platform for people to come out and have a voice and tell about who they are and what they do. And also so you could hear the passion behind it, right? Because I think a lot of members and business owners that we have on here, you can really hear how passionate they are about what they do. Right. And I think that really says a lot when people can hear that.
Right.
And I also think too, for me, I work with so many businesses, right? This gives me the opportunity to really learn more about who they are as a person, as a business. I learned so much more about them, and it gives me more opportunity to promote them and get out there and share their stories.
Right. And we've had guests on the podcast that, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to jump back to my part of the interview real quick. Like one of my favorite guests was Ashley Beasley talking about her story of like, she was very open and honest about like, we had a close date. Mm-hmm. And now she's turned it around. And if you just went to her and bought a cookie at the Forest Farmers Market on Saturdays, you would never know the full extent of her story and the struggle for her to be there every week and sell.
Right.
Right. For you to get your little treat or your amazing croissant, or I'm going to stop talking about her food because I'm getting hungry. Mm-hmm. It's so much more than that. And what's my favorite saying, Heather?
It's a sad dog that doesn't wag its own tail.
It's very hard for people to brag on themselves. And I feel like this podcast, because we ask questions. And what script did we follow, Heather?
None.
We don't have one.
We do not do a script.
And we genuinely want to
very rarely
learn about you. And we definitely want to promote you and things like that, which is fantastic because it's about the relationship, not the...
Which is also one of the things I love about this podcast is that it's not scripted. It doesn't, at least to me, feel like we're here just, line by line, just the monotony of, here's what we're saying.
We're
here's
not
what's
just checking a box.
on. Yeah, it's really diving into it and learning more. And they may say something that triggers a question completely differently than where I was going to go 5 seconds ago, right? So it gives us the opportunity to really explore. Now, we have some members that are nervous about coming on, and they'll give us some questions ahead of time. And they're like, hey, can you kind of ask these so I know the answers? And we will, but you'll notice. Or they
want to make sure that they get certain things on the podcast, which I get.
But you'll notice as we're talking to them, they start to relax more. And it just then we kind of go off script. I can't do a script, man. Like never. I've seen some of these podcasts where it's like minute 105 is this, and minute 107 you say this, and minute 109 it's this, and I'm like, dude, whatever.
Because you never know where the conversation is going to go.
Yeah.
Right. I almost want people to come in, and I want to be like I'm one of their new customers, and they're giving me a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Tell me all the things that make you great.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So and as much as I say it's a sad dog doesn't wag its own tail, I still have a hard time bragging on myself. The hardest question I answered today was like, tell me about Citizen of the Year. Like, I didn't even realize that question was in there. ChatGPT knows way too much about me.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's hard to answer that question, right? Because it's like, well, I do this and I do that. It's so, I'm so great. Like, but you're not telling you how great you are. You're just telling about yourself.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And a lot of people come on and they're scared, and we're like, just talk to us. It's a conversation. We're just talking to you across the table, right? That's the reason this isn't on video, right? People can make faces. We've seen people make faces in panic because they're not sure what to say and things like that. And sometimes the guests come in and we know them very well, right? Like Samantha Simmons, she's on here like every other week. It feels like, picking on you, Samantha, because for a while she was like here like almost every quarter and things like that. So they walk in, and we use Samantha for bookkeeping services as well. So like I know her and I know her business, and it's easy to ask questions. Sometimes I feel like I miss a question that I would ask because I already know the answer, so I'm not curious, right? Curiosity is our biggest tool on the show. When we have somebody walk through that door, like I had never met Melissa from Shine Forth before, and I didn't know what Shine Forth was before they got here. No, it was the United Methodist
Family Services.
Right. And I knew who they were. Right. And so like, oh, okay, I kind of know what you do, but like, why the name change? Like, why all that? And a lot of times if something changes names like that, you don't get to ask why. So, but she came in kind of nervous but gave great stories and great feedback about what was going on. It's just talk to us. And sometimes the less we know about the guest when they come in, for me, because sometimes I'm not sure who's on until I get here, and because it changes sometimes, and sometimes I don't know a lot about them. Sometimes I've never met the person, so I'm having to remember their name as well as their business. Yep. And so the questions come from a genuine place of like, I want to learn about you. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I come on here at the beginning of each show and I talk about upcoming events, talk about things. One thing I'm trying to do better this year is really getting the Central Virginia Business Coalition name out there. I think we have a lot of members. We have a lot of small businesses that are members, but we have more that are not than probably are. And I really want more business owners to see what we do and the passion behind what we do, so that they can come in and benefit from, what our current members are getting, right?
Yeah.
A lot of businesses in any area, right? Whether you're here in Virginia or you're in another state listening in, most of the times when you start a small business, you think, okay, I need to go talk to my local chamber of commerce, right? I need to go talk to my small business development center if there's one in your area, things like that, which are all great resources and all great opportunities. But I think the more resources you have as a business owner in a community, the better off you're going to be, right? So I think that's why being a member of the CVABC is a great option as well, for businesses in what I call our area, which is like the Region 2000, if you're local here in the Lynchburg area and surrounding counties. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, small business owner, we're a great fit for you starting out. And that's what I really try and focus on. And I just have, for me, I have such a passion for it, because in the past, I've been doing this now going on 11, 12 years, right?
Right.
So I've seen businesses come, I've seen businesses go, I've seen businesses make mistakes. I've seen businesses that have, turned everything around when they thought they were going to, be crashing and burning, and things have changed for them. I've seen businesses completely change their ideas. Like they're doing this and now they're doing this. And, so, I've seen a lot of different things, but one thing that I've seen that's been very constant is the relationships that have grown between our members and the people and the support systems that they have. And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest misconception about the CVABC?
I think the biggest misconception about the CVABC is that, we don't do a lot with like economic development, large corporations. And I think that people seem to think like, oh, well, maybe we don't need this because we're a larger business, right? Or maybe they're a smaller business and they're like, well, we don't know if we want to put our money into something because we're not sure if it's going to work, right? We're not sure, take the $200 membership fee, and that's $200. It's a lot of money when you're starting up a business.
It is.
So why would I give this organization $200 and hope that something happens, right?
Right.
So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions, is that we're just an organization. We're going to take your money and nothing's going to come out of it.
We have a lot of people that'll pay the membership fee and then we don't see them again.
And that's the biggest part to it. And that's what I try and tell people. First of all, if you're going to join, if you go online and you join, fabulous. Please set up a meeting with us, right? I want to have that one-on-one meeting with you so that I can really go over the benefits. I can see how we can help you, and I can give you some like pointers and things like that and stay really active. We have some people that sign up online. I don't know who they are. I never see them. They never come back. It's really weird. And it's like, well, why are you to that right there? Yeah, that is throwing your money away. And that's not what I want to see you do.
So let me piggyback off of that.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about how hard it is to start a business, run a business, no matter what size you are, right? So what advice do you have for the person who has just joined and they are doing a business and they are so busy working in the business that their time is limited for what they can do with CVABC events and things like that? What advice would you have for them?
So I think if you've joined, there has to have been something that caught your eye to make you join, right? Whether it was the digital billboards, whether it was, coming on the podcast, whether it's just having your name on the website that people are, Googling. A fun fact, a lot of people don't realize this, but if you don't have like necessarily like a website or you just have like a Facebook page, being part of an organization like ours where you're on our member directory actually gives you a higher listing on Google.
It does.
So that's one reason.
Speaking to someone who has a number one ranking. So.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So I feel like for most people, there's something that caught their eye. There's something they're like, oh, I need to join. If you're really busy, you can't come out to the networking events consistently. I do say try and schedule like one event a quarter.
Right.
Like make time for yourself at least once a quarter.
And I think
to come and learn.
The most valuable of those is Coffee Talk.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the podcast. The podcast. The most valuable is like of the monthly events is probably Coffee Talk. And here's the thing. You can come from 8 to 9. And no matter what kind of business you are, it's the last Friday of every month. Like you can plan, even if it's just once a quarter, to like not open until 10 or 10:30 or because you don't have to stay until 10. Like you could just do 8 to 9 o'clock, right? But kind of schedule your things. And if you're the kind of company that has appointments and things like that, just that one day, if you'll take the time off to go to a baseball game for your kids or something like that, and that's important. I'm not diminishing that at all. But if you'll do it for that, then why would you not also take a couple hours off in the morning? You're taking that time for that baseball game to invest in your kids. Why would you not take that time one day a month, a couple hours to invest into your business? Because you never know who your next big customer is going to be.
Another thing I really would put out there is everyone has like a referral connection, right? There's always someone that can be referred to you.
Right.
I always tell you, I tell members too, a great opportunity is to go in and look at that member directory we have. Find somebody in there that is like maybe someone who could give you referrals, like someone who would be a really good contact, and set up a one-on-one coffee chat with them, right? Even if it's just one person, make a connection, look on the website, find another member, set up coffee date, right? Make a connection, invite them to your business, learn more about them. So I'm very big on the relationship building. And I think that is another thing I would really encourage people to do as well, is make those connections, even if it's just one-on-one.
So what does effective leadership mean to you? Looking at you as not just a leader of your staff.
I think effective leadership is, it's hard because, I don't always see myself as a leader sometimes, which is crazy. I feel like I try to, not that I'm trying to be on a peer-to-peer basis, but I do have very small staff, right?
Right.
But I think effective leadership is being able to lead even when people aren't looking, and doing things when you do them because they have to be done, not because people are watching, right?
Right.
And you want that recognition of, oh, she's such a great leader. She's doing all these things. She's doing
look at all the things in the community she's showing up at. Yeah.
I also think being an effective leader is asking for help. I've had to do that a lot in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things I still don't know. Like I don't know how to do. I have to, I don't do bookkeeping. Like I have a bookkeeper. Like there's things that I consistently, need help with. And I don't think that makes you any less of a leader to have to ask someone for help. So, I think it's very effective to be able to run your business efficiently, even if you have to have someone else help you with doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Asking for help is probably one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
That anybody has to do. Right. We don't
Well,
like
'cause I
asking
think so
for
many people think, oh, well, I'm a leader and, I'm above my staff member. Well, your staff member may know something you don't know, right?
Right.
They may be so much more.
You hired somebody to work.
Yeah,
for a reason.
absolutely. So you're not helping yourself or your business by doing that.
Right. So who are some of the people who have inspired or supported you along the way?
Oh, so many people. I mean, I've had a lot of members that I've seen their growth and it has really inspired me to continue doing what I'm doing. I think everybody experiences some burnout from time to time.
Yeah. And
there are things like that really start me pushing and say, oh, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm going to continue doing it.
Right.
I kind of will play back on what you said with, my family, my parents, my husband, my kids. They're very supportive of me. I'm constantly going, right?
Right.
There's weekends I'm not home. There's times there's late nights, there's early mornings. There's a lot of juggling of schedules when, I have to do this or that.
Right.
So yeah, they're all very, I've gotten my parents, like my mother's hard-headedness, and her, my mother has multiple sclerosis. I've talked about it before. There's a lot of things she shouldn't be doing that she does that I get mad at her at. But honestly, I'm in awe of the things that she continues to be able to do with the diagnosis that she has. And, I went to her house this past weekend and she was trimming a tree with power tools in her wheelchair. I'm just going to leave that there. But,
right.
There's things. So, but yeah, my members, there's a whole lot of people. I can't just pinpoint it to like one particular person.
Okay. Is there a guest or an interview that particularly stands out in your mind?
So interview, I'm just going to put it out there because I've actually got to interview some people I would have never thought. Like my favorite interview still to this day has got to be Charles Eston.
Right.
I'm not going to even lie. That was the best interview ever. Phil Vassar was a close second because I love some Phil Vassar. So,
right.
But yeah, I have so many. We're hitting like over 200 some interviews and
episodes.
Episodes. So it's
double that.
Yeah, it's like 400 and some interviews. I'm not even sure what episode count we're on now.
I'm not either.
Emma, do we know? She's like, wait a minute, you just put me on the spot. But yeah, there's so many of my guests that have had such amazing stories. So many that have had tough times and, they've grown from it, or just businesses that have been started out of just pure tenacity and just, a lot of them. I really don't know that I could pinpoint like a specific one that stands out to me.
Okay.
Because there's been so many great ones.
You could have said your co-host.
I'm sorry. My interview with Mike Norfield about 30 minutes ago.
There you go. Or even the first time I came on the podcast, because like that was what's kind of started me coming and filling in for, it was supposed to be 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never leaving. You're stuck with me now. And I think it's been good.
Yeah, it has.
So,
it really has.
What have you enjoyed most about hosting Talk Local to Me?
I think it kind of goes back to learning more about the individuals that come in here and sit with me each week.
Yeah. That deeper dive.
Yeah, it is. I think that, I started doing this originally just to be like, oh, here's a new member benefit, right?
Right.
But it's
very different.
So much more.
I'm going to have to go see if I can find the first episode and listen to it because
it's so much different.
So much different.
It really is. It really has turned into something really great. And, now we've spun off and we've got our tea time,
right?
Videos that we do. We're going to, hopefully be, doing some TikTok stuff. So it's created more than just that original concept. It's grown.
Right.
And I think that's just what I love about it is, those opportunities it's created.
Organically grown beyond what it was meant to be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
I think it's great. So we ask 2 questions of every podcast guest that comes on.
Yes.
So what is your favorite benefit of the CVABC that it offers?
Ooh, my favorite benefit that we offer. I think think my favorite benefit isn't really one that we promote. I mean, I say it all the time, but I'm going to stick with the relationships that are built between the businesses that we have, the business members. And it's not really necessarily a benefit that's on like a bullet point on a piece of paper. Like it doesn't just say like, hey, relationships, right? Most people would expect me to say like, oh, our billboards. Okay, because they are great. Like that is a very awesome benefit for a small business owner to get a free digital billboard for a couple weeks, right? And it's not something you can get from any other organization around here. So it's very, what is it? Niche, like a niche for us. So it's great, but that's something that comes and goes, right? You have it, it's up there, you see it, and then it goes. And then if you want more billboards, you pay for more billboards. But you come to an event and you build that relationship, that's going to last. That's the longevity. That's building, that's the building blocks to success going down the road.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. The second question is, how long have you been part of the CVABC?
I have been part of the CVABC for going on my 10th year now. 9th. Going into my 10th. 10 will start in September. Yeah.
I started Visiting Angels just a little bit before you were at CVABC, I think.
Yeah. So I've been here, it doesn't seem that long, but yeah, been here for a while and planning to stick around for a little bit longer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, I just signed another 10-year contract, so I'm here for a little bit. So not with CVABC, but with Visiting Angels. So here we don't know. We'll see. Woody might kick me out.
Yeah, Woody might kick us out. But get up.
So where can people find out more about the CVABC?
So you can find out more of the CVABC on our website, www.cvabc.org. You can go check out our Facebook page, Central Virginia Business Coalition. You can contact me at heather@cvabc.org and have a one-to-one meeting. You can come visit us this Friday at Coffee Talk at Fortress Foundation Solutions right off Vista Center Drive from 8 to 10. We'll be there. Be on the lookout. We are hosting our Christmas in July membership drive starting July 1st. So if you're not a member, if you've been following us, you're going to see we're doing something kind of fun. So every single day in July, we're interviewing members. So we're going to post a different interview every morning in July, talking about how they've unwrapped the gift of CVABC benefits and membership, and kind of a telltale on how that's going to work. And then if you join during the month of July, you're going to get, it's about 25% off of your membership. You also get extended membership from now till the end of December 2027. So you actually get an additional 5 months of membership.
Nice.
And then also once a business joins, we'll be doing a social media shout out like that day. Like it's going to go up immediately.
Okay.
We're going to be doing some shout outs. And so play along for July. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to unwrap a lot of fun things for businesses, but you can definitely reach out to me and set up a time to come in and learn more about what we do.
Awesome. So if you want to learn more about the CVABC, you can email Heather at heather@cvabc.org, or you can go to cvabc.org. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday.